I don't know how to start this talk now because what I was about to say has been displayed. You're going to be fine. You really are. But I want to encourage you to put everything away for a while. No more read the Bible for a while. Just do the silent prayer and watch those thoughts because you definitely want what's right. But you got to calm down so that the truth can catch up with you. You're so busy it can't catch you. But you do want it, and the fact that you want it, you welcome it, it will catch you if you slow down. So do the silent prayer every morning. Do you do the hooping and hollering prayer too?
I do. I mix it.
You mix it? And for a week, don't do the hooping and hollering prayer. I want you to just be still because the hooping and hollering prayer is to the devil and it's keeping you away from God. And I want you to let go of everything so he can guide you for 1 week. From today until next Sunday. Will you try that?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Here's what I was going to say, and I'm still going to say it. I realized that human beings, with the S, are dumber than a rock. Human beings are the most dumbest people on earth. What y'all thinking? Anybody feel offended that you're dumb? You feel offended?
Offended? No, I agree with it.
Oh, you agree? Okay, all right. Human beings are the most dumbest people on earth. And here's some examples. Human beings are looking for the answer. Some are, most are not. And I say to them, all you got to do is give up. Be still, do the silent prayer, and let the truth catch up with you. Stop trying. Doubt every thought. And what some human beings would do is that they would do the prayer for a minute, and then when they feel better, they say, oh, I feel so much better. The prayer is helping. And then so their troubles that they're having at the time go away, but they come back again in a different form. But in the meantime, they stop doing the prayer. They stop letting the truth catch up with them. The very thing that will help them, they stop doing it because they feel better for a minute. And feeling better is not the solution. Feeling better is still feeling bad, but you just call it feeling better, so you think, well, I don't need to pray anymore. And then as soon as something else goes wrong, and it will, they rush back to the prayer. Or they start whining. They start complaining rather than doing the one thing that will set them free. They'll rather listen to thoughts than to listen to nothing. Any human being that listens to thought is dumb. Even rocks don't listen to thoughts. Have you ever heard of a rock listen to a thought? Why do you then? See, I told you, dumber than a rock. Thoughts are your enemy. We want to live, well, you should want to live a no-thinking life. Except for practical thinking, what I'm going to eat, what I'm going to wear. You know, they said that guy that did the shooting up in Maine, they said he heard voices in his head. And then they said he got some earplug or hearing aid, and he was able to pick up voices from other people around him, and he would hear what they were saying about him too. So not only was he listening to the voices in his head, if it's true, he would listen to the voices of what other people think, and that stuff piled up on him, and it drove him crazy, because thoughts are evil. I tell you all the time that thoughts are evil. And what do? You listen to thoughts. You see thoughts as an identity. You think you are your thoughts. You think you are your feelings. You think this and you think that. You're never going to enter into the kingdom of heaven on thinking. You're never going to enter into the kingdom of heaven as long as you hold on to another identity. I'm a wife, I'm a husband, I'm a mother, I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a that. As long as you have I'm a that and these things, you're never going to enter into the kingdom of heaven. In order to enter into the kingdom, you got to lay everything down. You got to let everything go. In order to enter into the kingdom of heaven, you got to let the world go. You can't have two worlds. The world is an illusion, and you are your own enemy. I tell people, have no fear. What do? They have fear. And then they'll blame somebody else for the fear that they have. When the fear is your fear, it's in you, it's not out there, it's inside of you, but you won't pay attention to see that the fear you're feeling is your fear, it's not somebody else. But you would say, oh, you made me afraid. I was interviewing a lady on the Fall Estate, and it's coming up next week. And she was an expert woman trying to recruit other women to work in oil field or something. And I said something to her, I forgot how it went, and the word slut came up. I forgot how it went. You'll see it this week. And I said, why would any man want a slut? Something like that. And she's like, oh. I was like, what's wrong? You hurt my feelings. And I didn't call her a slut. But she felt the pain of it. That's dumber than a rock. Do you think a rock will feel the pain of a word? If I said to the rock, you a little slutty rock. Do you think the rock gonna feel the pain? So then why do you feel pain? Why are you afraid? Why do you hold on to fear inside of you? Why do you look for love from people? People don't have love to give, just like you don't have it. We don't have love to give, but you look for love. You look for approval, and you will fight. I counsel with husbands and wives who are literally fighting each other, trying to get love from one another. They both trying to get the love, and then one would say, well, I love you, and the other would say, well, I love you too, but it doesn't feel like it. You're stuck on feelings. Do you think a rock has feeling? So now do you believe me when I say human beings are dumber than a rock? It doesn't make sense to live this way. You don't have to live this way. You can, I promise you, you can live kingdom of heaven right here on earth. Everything's been done for you. You're not a sinner. You're not a saint. You're not guilty. There's nothing wrong with you, except it's in the mind. You're worshiping the devil and calling it God, or calling it you. You got to be willing to let all identities go. Last week, I told a couple of people to talk about something. And I told other people to ask a question of the person that's talking. Y'all remember that? Oh, yeah. And then, so the person will make a statement, and then some people ask questions, but they didn't just ask questions, they gave help too. Oh, you're going to be fine. Or just stay with the prayer. The statement was, the instruction was, just ask a question. But you're lost in your thoughts, and your thoughts are giving you all the answers that you've heard before, but you don't know if they're true or not. It just sounds good, and it look good to say it in front of somebody. Because those people will think you're smart, at least in your mind they're thinking that. But they're thinking, oh, all you're doing quoting Jesse. But in your mind you think they're thinking that you're smart. Isn't that amazing? The mind is your enemy. All thoughts are all lies all the time. You got to become a rock on earth. And you can do it, but you got to live without thoughts. You got to live without identity. You must become nobody. And a nobody doesn't need anything, because a nobody never compare themselves to others. They're never without. Their needs are always met because they're not comparing themselves to the rich or the poor or the white or the black or the this or the that. This war that's happening in Israel right now, with Israel and Palestine, whatever going on, you got people dumber than a rock fighting each other in these universities and everywhere. And they have no idea what the real war is about. They've just been told what to do and how to act. They're like, oh, we'll fight over occupy land or something dumb like that. They don't own the land. And once whoever wins the war and get the land, the people who are fighting one another in these universities, they're not going to get a piece of that land. And they'll be just held up for a minute until whomever's in charge decide they want something else, and they're going to stir them up even more so. You got to lay your weapons down. You got to lay your weapons down within yourself. Stop fighting with the devil. And you got to lay your weapon down and take his sides. You don't know what's going on. Why can't you say, I'm not taking sides in this war. I don't know what's happening. I know what the media say. I know what the politicians say. Politicians lie. Politicians know the exact word to say to draw you in. And you just walk right on into it. These kids should be enjoying each other in college right now. College life is a fun life. You're supposed to be having fun. And you ain't learning nothing, no how, but you're supposed to be having fun. But they're fighting one another. They're literally on the streets fighting one another. And it's all ego. And they don't have a clue. The politicians say, watch the next politician on TV and just don't have an opinion. Don't judge him, but just watch him. You can see they ain't lying, or she. They don't tell the truth. But if you have taken sides, you won't see that they're not telling the truth. Because human beings are dumber than a rock. You think a rock take a side of a politician? You can live, I promise you, you can have paradise here on earth, but you got to come out of thoughts and emotions. You got to, and you will be able to see what's going on without taking sides. Or when you're watching the news and they tell you the economy is bad today. There was a hurricane in Tijuana somewhere, and 800 people died. And the moment they tell you 800 people were killed, you feel bad. And you didn't know either one of those people. You didn't like them, and they didn't like you, but you feel bad. And you feel good about feeling bad. Oh, because you feel like you love somebody. You don't love nobody. There's this woman that, I have never met her in person, but she was like acting like she was really our friend here at the network. And she would write these nice cards and letters and all this. I'm like, oh, this is such a nice lady. And then find out later she had an agenda. And so when the agenda came forward, I refused to take sides with her. Because it's not, I don't care about that at all, right? And then she turned on us. She started name calling, she started writing bad letters. She said, you are afraid, that's why you want to do it. I'm not even thinking about it, but it's in her mind because that's what she wants. And if you don't do what she wants, she'll snap on you, she'll turn on you. Isn't that amazing? Dumber than a rock, but you don't have to be. You could really be free right here on earth. I've set before you life and death. Choose life. You're already dying, so why not choose life? And that's what I was saying to you that, what's your first name again? Vanessa. Oh yeah, I knew it was a Vanessa somewhere in there. Vanessa, you have to let go of everything. You got to let go of the Bible. You got to let go of writing the journal for now. You got to let go yelling at your husband, talking to yourself in the mind. You need to slow down, and the truth will catch up with you, and it will be amazing. Have you, I want to ask a question. Then I want to ask the biblical question. Did you forgive your mother?
Yes.
You forgave your mother?
I went to her and I sat with her and yes.
And what did you say to her?
that I forgive her, because, sometimes she'll say, like, you wish that some lady at church is your mom instead.
She would say that to you?
Yeah.
Wow.
And, yeah.
And why would she say that?
And I would, well, unbeknownst to me, I'm always judging her and throwing stones at her. And I would call her a liar, be like, Mom, why do you say that? I love you. I don't want this lady to be my mom. But I just realized, like, when I coming across your channel, and people have told me too, like, you talk way too fast and too much, but you made sense of everything. But I realized I was a liar and I was hiding all this hate. And I told her, Mom, you're right. It's not that I wanted this lady to be my mom. I just wanted you to be a holy woman. And that's like not right for me to do that too. So I forgive you, for that. That's wrong. And, and I forgive you for allowing your sisters and your mom to say ugly things about my dad. And I never even realized that because yeah.
So did you forgive your father for not being there for you?
Yeah, yes, because it's sad that I had to do all the ugly things that I hated him for, that I was resenting him for me to be like, oh, I understand. And then coming across your channel, it just made more sense of all the jumbleness.
So you still want your mother to be holy, a holy woman?
I just want her I don't want her to be anything, like it just hurt, and just not even be so like microscopic on her, just let her be, just like you're saying, I just have to stop doing all this stuff and just mind my business.
Yeah. You need to mind your business. You need to slow down and work on you only. You can't work on your mother. You can't work on your husband. They can't work on you. Each individual is responsible for themselves, so only you can work on yourself. And so you don't even know what a holy mother is. If Mother Mary walked in this room right now, you wouldn't recognize her until you become that. And then you would know. Everything starts with you first, not with someone else. So cut it out.
Yes, sir.
All right?
Yes.
And just calm down and relax and stop judging your mother or anyone. You don't want you. God is not judging you. He has never judged you, and he never will. So you got to stop doing it too if you want to be free. That makes sense?
So much sense.
So calm down.
Thank you.
So you're going to have a quiet wife in the house this week. So what?
I said, we'll see about that.
She's going to work on herself this week. She's going to be totally quiet, go through the week, and she'll let me know how it goes. But you got to work on yourself, folks. You got to do the silent prayer if you want to be free. I can't make you free. And anyone that has anger is evil. I don't care who it is. You have anger, you cannot be trusted. An angry person is a murderer, and Satan is your God. And your nature needs to change. So the light, when you go and forgive by seeing that you're wrong, you will rise with the light. And once you rise in the light will come on inside of you, and then the light will kill the darkness, and you shall be free. The light will get rid of those identity, which is the nature of the devil. And so I would highly recommend you stop calling yourself I this and I that, I this, I'm lazy, I'm this, I'm that. You're none of those things at all. You don't even know who you are yet. And the more identities you take on, the further it takes you away from who you really are. You got to live as a nothing. And that's a harder thing for the ego to do, is to live as a nothing because the ego want to be God. You're nothing. It's beautiful being nothing too. You have so much time on your hand. When you slow down and stop staying busy doing nothing, spending your money, wasting your time, trying to be better than the Joneses, running around looking like an idiot. When you be nothing, you're going to have so much time and an amazing life. Amazing life. I had a friend to go and make some keys for me yesterday. And so they went and made the keys. And then they said, I'm going to give them to the person tomorrow. I hope they work. I'm like, why are you hoping the keys work tomorrow? Why don't you just make the key, have the keys made, and not worry about tomorrow? But he thought it was, did you think it was normal to worry about tomorrow? Sorry, I didn't mean to expose him. I'm like, why did you say that?
Because I've noticed when you make keys, they don't always work that well.
And
so you can't just assume that they're going to work.
Right.
Because you made a copy of them.
And so he makes a good point. You can't assume that they're going to work, right? Because before it didn't work. But he's assumed that it's not going to work. He's assumed that it might not work because it didn't work before. And because he assumed that, that's why he said we have to wait and see. What would happen if he had not compared yesterday to tomorrow? Been there at all, and just had the keys made and wait and see. What do you think would happen?
We'll find out.
Right. You want a find out life. Does that make sense? Yes. You want a find out life. The ego wants you to think you know now. You want to know now because it want to keep you in an illusion of the past or the future, which keep you away from God, which keep you away from life. Because God, life, the truth, everything that you need is always right here, right now. It's always right here. So you got to practice being present now. Spend time working on now. Forget about, don't let the devil pull you into what has happened, what will happen. God is not into time. He's not into time, he's into right now. If your husband beat you last night, don't wake up this morning and think he gonna beat me this morning. Have a way to see if he gonna beat you. She got beat last night. Or if your wife beat you, because women are beating men now. If your wife beat you last night, don't wake up thinking my wife gonna beat me this morning. Have a way to see. If she beat you, you got beat. Do you know that you bring things upon yourself? Yeah. You bring it on yourself by thinking that way. You could be afraid that something's going to happen, and it will happen. Isn't that amazing? But if you were not afraid and you have a way to see, it would not happen. Not only would you not do it to others, but it wouldn't be done to you. It would not. You bring it upon yourself. Because you are responsible for your own world. You're to blame for it. Whatever you're feeling and thinking is no one else's fault but yours. And nobody, it ain't out there, it's with you. It's inside of you. Your fear is inside of you. Your loneliness is inside of you. Your fake happiness is inside of you. Your everything is inside of you. But you don't see it because the devil tells you somebody else made you feel that way. You made me feel. I need you to help me overcome my loneliness. I need you to make me feel better. It doesn't work. Isn't that amazing? You can have perfect peace, but you gotta don't let anybody, when you go to the alcoholic meeting tonight, you going to the meeting tonight. And they tell you to stand up and tell us your name. You can stand up and say your name, and even say your name with consciousness because you are not even your name. People identify with name. They feel good about that name. Don't mess with my name. Why are you laughing at my name? They identify with names, and you can hurt them by making a joke about their name. It's like the blacks with their mama. Don't mess with mama. You talk about my mama, you got a fight on your hand. You act like you're talking about them. Right. Anyway, do you understand that? Yes, and it's not an easy thing to do because you're so identified with the false self. Like, who will I be? The devil screams, who will I be if I let this go? Who will I be if I don't be this way? Who will I be? That's not you screaming that. That's evil telling you that because you have identified with evil. So when you go to the alcoholic meeting tonight and they have you stand up and introduce yourself, I guess, just say, my name is John, I used to drink. Don't say, my name is John, I'm an alcoholic. Because what they're going to do is assign a person, another alcoholic to you, or you got to call up, when you're about to take a drink, call up this other alcoholic and tell them that. Now you're on the phone drinking together. Or doing something else together. I know. Have you noticed the alcoholic people who are assigned alcoholic, they start dating each other? And then they hate each other. Because that's not the answer. The answer to the problem, you gotta let go. It's a spiritual battle. And you gotta let go. You can't fight a spirit. You just need to be aware of the spirit of evil. And read the Bible ain't gonna do it. You can read the Bible until the cows come home and never have perfect peace. You could Bible thump everybody and you'll still be miserable. You go home that night with your Bible and you still scared, you're still lonely, you're still whatever. Only dying from the ego death will make you free. That's the only thing gonna work. You could be a workaholic and you're still lonely because when you close that door at work, you're back into reality. I'm lonely. What would I do now? I have nothing to do. And you'll call up somebody that you hate and pretend you love them. Hey, I was just thinking about you. I'm just using you right now because I need to escape. That's what's really going on. Anyway, any questions about that? Right here and right here. And then I want to get to the biblical. Is this fun? When you start dying from the ego, when you pay attention to this stuff, there's no more fun than working on yourself. Because you're going to start dying and you'll become free. And you want more and more and more and more, and no one will be able to take it away from you. If the whole world turned against you, it wouldn't bother you because they didn't care about you anyway, and you didn't care about them. Yes?
First of all, I'm going to say this is the best fellowship I've ever been to. Today's amazing.
Oh, amazing.
Because when you were talking, I was thinking, the thoughts were in my head about, well, we're like that because we're trained that way as a kid to be in our thoughts, in our head, in our this, I love you, this and that.
Yeah.
And then your voice, little Jesse Peter in my head said, that's why you got to forgive your parents. That's why you got to forgive your mom because she trained you that way. And you always say, they didn't know any better. And they didn't. And then you realize you're 40-something years old and you realize, man, everything I've been taught has been a lie. I have to relearn everything.
Everything.
And then, I do go to those things,
What things?
And the AA stuff.
See, I told you. That's why he screamed.
And but I'm different than them. I don't want to sponsor. And I always tell them about anger and ego, and everybody looks at me like I'm crazy. And I'm like, I got myself here. I got to get myself out.
Yes.
And it's funny because then the Mike Tyson thing just popped in my head because he said something on Tucker Carlson the other day about. Tucker Carlson said, what do you think about when people talk about you? And he goes, when I'm somebody, it bothers me, but then I realize I'm a nobody.
That's right.
And it don't bother me. And then Tucker Carlson timed out the interview and he said, whoa, that's deep. And
anyone who cares about what people think about you or say about you, you're dumber than a rock. Just think about it. Why do you even think about what someone else is thinking about you? You got the problem. It's you. It's inside of you thinking what somebody else think about you. And whatever they're thinking, if they're thinking, that's on them. That's their problem. But you're a rock, dumber than a rock. If you spend 1 iota of a minute thinking about what somebody's thinking about you, and it's because you think more of yourself than you are anyway, when you think about somebody else thinking about you. What the? Well, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson. That's it. That's it.
That's amazing.